So I want to do today's class on loan amortization. The same question that I've shared on BDM. Question 22. Question 22. It was on loan amortization. So we can do on that question 22. Loan amortization. Question 22 of loan amortization. Can do that one. Question 22 of loan amortization. So we do the loan amortization, then my Friday class, you remind me so that I'll just be having the old data for the previous question as we are done. And then from there, we now be able to understand on how we input the pivot table and also the graphs for comparison. So we can do on loan amortization. We can do on loan amortization. Do on loan amortization. Loan amortization here. Question 23. Question 21 of BDA. Question 21 of BDA. We do the loan amortization. I'm hoping everyone is there. So once you're there, you can let me know. I say this is a practical paper. We have to do it, all of us, practically. You have to do the paper practically. So make sure that in this case, you have the paper, you have the Excel sheet opened, and then we do it practically as we do on that particular part. So loan amortization, we can do question 22. Question 22. Loan amortization, question 22. Manoti Wele has recently been thinking of buying his dream car a few years after rejoining Rafiki Sacco. Having established a Mercedes E-Class vehicle would cost between 2.7 to 3 million. Given he approached the Sacco for a loan of 2 million, with a difference to come from the sale of his car with a current market resale value of 1 million. Sacco that Manotti Wele qualifies for the loan. I mean, the Sacco confirmed that Manotti Wele qualifies for the loan and were willing to advance him a new loan under the following terms. Loan amount 2 million. Period he pays in 5 years. Repayment frequency should be monthly. I think these ones were not given. These ones were not given. So repayment period is monthly. Annual interest rate is 11%. Then we also have what we call the monthly repayment, which is what we call the installment payment. The loan should be repaid on a monthly basis. First installment is due at the end of the first month after loan disbursement. Manotti Wele has approached you as an advisor, for advice, as he does not understand how the repayments amount and interest on loan are arrived at. So you are required, using the appropriate MS Excel function, confirm to Manotti Wele that indeed the monthly repayment amount was shillings 43,485 is actually correct. That is question number 1. So I can just have my workings here. I can have the workings. The workings here. So we begin with that question number 1. The question number 1, where I just say is equals. We have the required there. So the first thing is we copy all these data that we have here. The data is here. That is the data, Control C. So I can paste for that data. So Control V, just have the data here. That is the data from what we have here. We want to confirm whether the monthly repayment is correct or not correct. So now remember, loan amortization is prepare to know probably the amount that you are paying for each and every period. Number two, you also prepare to know the amount of interest that you'll be able to pay for the entire loan. And then this is per the period. So in this case, for loan amortization, it has to indicate what we call the amount borrowed. You have to indicate the installment payments. You also have to indicate what we call the interest expense, and also have to indicate the principal amount, which is now the part of the loan that is being paid. And then the last one should be on what we call the amount as at the end. So with that, we can just begin using the appropriate MS Excel function. Confirm to Manoti Wele that indeed the monthly payments of 485 is actually correct. So we can confirm that. But first, here we've been given the period is in years. So we want to know in 5 years, you need to pay for the loan for a total of how much? In this case, it will be 5. You multiply by a year as how many months? A year as 12 months. So I'll multiply by 12 months. So you will pay for 60 months. This is interest rate per annum. I want the interest rate per month because you're doing so per monthly. So I will take is equals. You click on the interest rate, then you can divide by what? A year has how many months? 12 months. So you can press enter. In that case, this is our interest rate. The interest rate. The interest rate, which in this case, I can just reduce the decimal place, or you can just have it as it is. No problem. That is our interest rate. Our interest rate. If you take this, you divide by 12, you get the interest rate. So then we have the monthly installment. This is the installment payment, the annuity, the equal amount that you pay all over each period until you finish up the loan. So we want to confirm whether this is correct or not correct. We want to confirm whether it is correct or not correct. So now, this is what we call the installment payments, and therefore you can say is equals, and then you type PMT. So you type PMT, that is the principal amount. When you look at here, it calculates the payment for loan based on constant payments. So that is it. I will click on that. Then the rate is here. That is my rate, comma. The period is what we call in the NPER period. And then the present amount, the present value is the amount borrowed. This one. You close the bracket, then you can press enter. In this case, it will also appear as a negative. And therefore, you have to remove the negative by beginning with what? A negative before the PMT. So you put the negative, then you can press enter. And that is what will be the amount. It appears in dollar. So I can change it into Kenyan shillings, or you can just have it as a number. So you just come here on home. Here, instead of putting currency, just have it as a number. I can reduce the decimal into what? into whole number. And as you can see, that is true. The installment payment that he has to be paying monthly is supposed to be paying an amount of how much? He's supposed to be paying an amount of 43,485, and therefore that one you can say it's correct. You can state that it is what? Correct. So that is it. I'm hoping everyone has understood on how we've been able to do it. I repeat again. Now, I've said this is the installment payment. And the installment payment is our annuity, the equal amount that you'll be paying throughout the period. And I've said for you to look at the installment payment, you just say is equals. Since if you all right, sorry for that. Let me repeat again. So as I've said, we are looking for the installment payment, the equal amount that is be paid each month until the end of the last month, which is our 60th month. And to get the installment payment here, you say PMT. You type PMT, there is a principal amount, is equals PMT. Once you type that, you'll also see it tells you that it calculates payment for a loan based on a constant payment and a constant interest rate. So once you click that, it tells you to put the rate. Our rate is that one, the percentage per month, comma, NPER is our period. This one is paying for how many months? For 60 months. That is the period. Then, comma, we also have the P present value, just our loan amount, which in this case is 2 million, and you can put comma. Then you place enter. Once you do that, it will appear as a negative. And so, for it not to appear as a negative because it's supposed to be a positive value, you make sure that you start without a negative. Once you do that, that is the installment payment, which is our monthly equal repayment, which represents now the annuity. The annuity. I'm hoping up to that point it is okay. Now it is okay, Judith? Or you're not getting the same? Judith, I'm hoping it is very much okay so that we proceed. Or Judith is not in again. All right. Oh, I repeat again. What's the issue? It is not giving you the same value? All right, I begin again. Make sure that you do as I'm doing is equals. You type a PMT. Once you do that, you now put the rate. The rate is yeah, that is the percentage, comma. Can also have the, once you put the rate, you put the period. Then once you put the period, you can have the present what? Value. Let me see, the kindly unmute, okay. Let me see where the problem is. All right, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. You did unmute yourself and you ask the question. Judith, you can unmute yourself and you ask the question. Just click on the microphone, where it is showing you the audio, and then you can ask the question. Judith, I don't know what. All right, you can now ask your question. I think now you have I can't even see your sound. That is how why I am unable to ask you to unmute. You can join with your device using the audio sound so that you can now be able to speak. Because I see your mic there, I cannot see your mic. I cannot see your mic, meaning that you have joined, but you're not joined with your computer sound. So kindly, you can log out and log in, then I will allow you to ask your question. Now we proceed. I'm hoping no one else is having any issue on that. I said once you do that, you press enter. And since here it is a negative, make sure that you begin with a negative. Negative. Negative is just next to 0. Just place the negative there and then okay. Judith, I think you have joined again. Huh? Right. Now you can unmute yourself. Ask your question now. You can ask your question. Seems that there is something wrong with your device. Check on your volume and everything. I think there must be something. Okay, we can just proceed then. No problem. And just proceed. Now, that is how we get the installment payment, or what we call the principal amount. That was for the question number 1. We go to question number 2. So I just have here is equals this one. You are required to prepare. Now the required is you prepare a monthly loan amortization schedule for the above loan for Manoti Wele. And this is to see how the loan clears by the end of the 5th year. So we can prepare the loan amortization schedule. So I'm going to have the period, yeah? Period, we know it is 1 to 60. So 1 depending on months. So 1 to 60. So I said you type the first and second one, and then you can do what we call the autofill. You put number 1 to, then you highlight the 2 of them, and from the far corner you can just drag up to the last one. That should be up to 60. Then should be here. somewhere there. I think I will have to clear on this data. I will have to clear on that data. Let me clear this data. All right. So that is for the period. Then from there, we normally have the amount as start. This is amount as at the beginning, amount at the start. We'll also have the installment payment, which is now the monthly payment. Installment payment. We'll also have what we call the interest expense. Interest. Here we'll have the principal amount. Principal amount. Then I will have the amount at the end. So that is what we need to have there. That is the loan amortization, the item that we need to include in the loan amortization. So with that, now this is it, what you need to know. Now, when you talk about the installment payment, as I've said, is the amount that you pay each and every period. When you talk of the interest expense, is the interest on the loan balance, and that is the loan balance as at the beginning. Principal is part of now the installment payment that you will have paid relating to the loan balance. And then here we'll have the amount as at the end. So in our case, we know the amount borrowed here, it was 2 million. So I will have the amount there. That is the amount as at the start. Installment payment is this amount, is paying each and every year. That is the amount. Interest. Interest will be given by, now that the installment payment is going to be constant all through. From the year 1 to year 60, we can lock on that. And to lock, we said you can place F4. F4. If you place F4, or you can just be able to put, if your F4 is not working, you can just place Fn, then Fn and Fn and F4. I think in that case, it will be able to lock your installment payments. Once you do that, you'll also look for the interest. Interest should be given by is equals the interest rate. Remember, it is going to be a constant amount. Therefore, we can first log the interest, Fn, F4. There are those that once you place F4, it will just work automatically. So interest, I log it, then I multiply by the amount as at the beginning, amount at the start. And I press the enter. Then I proceed, principal amount. Locking, I said you can place F4. If your computer is not working on the F4 only, make sure that you place Fn. While loading Fn, you can now place F4. By doing that, you'll be able to lock that particular cell. I'm hoping that is okay, Lydia. If your F4 is not working, make sure that you place Fn, then F4. It will be able to lock. So we proceed. So this is the interest out of these 43,485. 18,333 represents the interest. So the principal amount, which is now the part of the loan, will be of how much? You just say is equals 43, you minus the interest. Once you do that, you get the amount as the what? You get the amount as the principal amount, which is now the part of the loan. Meaning that Out of these 2 million, you have only paid 25,150 what? One. So what is the balance as at the end? It will just be given the amount as at the start, you minus the principal amount. That is it. You'll also do the same. The amount at the end is the amount as at the beginning here. So you'll also have the principal amount is equals this amount. You log Fn, then F4, log the whole amount, then press enter. Then interest will be is equals the interest rate here. I've said you log the interest rate Fn F4, or you can place F4. Then you multiply by the amount as at the start. Then you can place enter. Once you do that, you can get the principal amount is the installment payment, you minus the interest. That is the principal amount, meaning that now for this period, part of the loan you have paid 25,282, which in this case now will help us to know the amount as at the end. Amount at the end will be given by the amount at the start, you minus the principal payment. Once you do that, from the second row, and that is from where we have the installment payment, you can highlight. From here, you highlight up to the last, up to the amount at the end. Interest, I've said you just check is equals. The interest rate will be given by, as I've said, just say is equals the interest here, and you make sure that you log the interest, F4. And I've said if your F4 is not working, place Fn concurrently with F4, you log. Then you can multiply by the amount as at the start. Once you do so, you press enter. So it just give you the interest. So that once you get the interest, you can get now the amount as at the end, the principal amount, I mean. The principal amount will be given by the amount at the start, by the installment payment, you minus the interest. This one I've said is just from here. Is equals the installment payment, you minus the interest. Once you do that, you can get the amount at the end is equals amount at the start, you minus the principal payment. And let me just write it here for you to make it clear. This is what will be my A. Let me add it there so that you may understand what we mean. This is what will be my B. My B. So to get the principal amount, the principal is a constant value, you know. So for this one, interest will be is equals this rate here, which is just 0.0 something there. The rate that we have in here, this one, I can talk of the interest rate. That is generally the A, you multiply by the interest rate. Let me just write it that way. Interest rate. So that principal amount here, it should be given by. So this one, I'd say this gives us C. So it will give us C. So that once you do that, you get now the principal amount. Principal amount should be our D, which is equal to So principal amount will be D, which is B minus C. And then from there, you can have the amount at the end, which is A minus D. So you can copy that. A minus D. A minus D. So any question on that? Any question up to that point? Any question up to that? All right. So once you do the second one, I said you highlight from the installment payment up to the last point there. Once you do that, you just press your cursor at the far end and you double click. You place the cursor at the far end, then you can double click. I think there is a negative that I have not removed. Sorry. What is it that I don't know the mistake where? This could have been this. So let me see. There is a mistake I've done. The whole of the second, not from the second one. All right, I've seen the mistake we have done. I should highlight the whole column, not from the, not from the, not from, not from the installment payment. You just highlight the whole row. So you highlight this one, the whole of it. You highlight the whole of this. Once you do that, you place your cursor at the far corner. Once you do that, you can just double click. In that case, it will prepare the loan amortization automatically. So that is it. That is how we can be able to prepare loan amortization. So I can also give an example, another one here before we go to the continuation of the question. What is required? We can just review another one. Let me just have it in a new sheet. Just insert. Now assume that I assume that now the loan amount is assume loan amount of loan amount and assume of 3 or 5 million. Assume loan amount of 5 million. Can also talk of period. Period, I can say you pay in 10 years. 10 years. Yes, interest. interest I can have as 12% per annum. This is interest per annum. Interest per annum. There is per annum. Can assume is 12%. That way. So we can prepare the loan amortization for this one. Loan amount is 5 million. Period is 10 years. These are the years. Then we have the interest per annum. We want to know now monthly. Mostly in our case, we prepare the loan amortization on monthly basis. So here we'll just have the period, which will be equals the 10-year period you multiply by the number of months that are there in a year, which is 12, you present. The interest rate is per annum, so I can get per month, which will be equals 12%, you divide by 12, you press enter. Then from there, the other thing that you have to look for is the principal, the installment payment. Installment payment is what we call in the monthly payment. Installment payment, the equal amount that you'll be able to pay for the loan. This will be given by is equals the PMT. And I said it's good that you always begin with a negative so that you eliminate the negative that will occur. And then you put into bracket the rate, which is this 0.01, comma, period is the NPER, which is 120 months, and then comma, the loan amount is our present value. So you can have the present value there, then you close, or you close the brackets and you press enter. So to remove, because it has to appear in currency form, to remove that, I will just have it as a number. So I just come here on this part icon, I put it in number form. That is the installment payment. So once I do that, I can now prepare the loan amortization. I'm going to have the period, which in this case should be 1 to 20. So I type 1, I type 2, then you can do an autofill. You highlight the first 1 and 2, then up to 120. So I just need up to 120. 120. So 120 after that. Then from there we have the amount as such, or generally the balance brought down. That is the balance as at the start. You can have the installment payment there. You'll also have what we call our interest. Interest. Interest is just 1%. 1%. Then you can also have the principal amount. Then also you will have the balance as at the end. That is the principal amount balance carried down. Current down. So that is it. We now do the loan amortization. So I have that in board. The amount at the start, we know is the amount that he borrowed, which is 5 million. And installment payment, we know it is here. This you'd say is equals the installment payment. I said you log the installment payment F4 or FN F4. So that you log it. So FN F4. That is a double lock for the installment payment. And you'll have the interest, which should be is equals the interest rate here, which is a common value. And therefore, I'll also need to log that FN F4, or you can use F4. You multiply by the amount at the start. which is 5 million. Press enter. Also get the principal payment, which is equals the installment payments you minus the interest. Enter. And then also you'll have the amount as at the end. Amount at the end will be given by the amount at the start you minus the principal payment, which in this case the principal payment is 21,735, meaning that it represents the amount of the loan that you've been able to pay on that particular period. So it's equals. You also have the balance as carried down is also the balance as at the start of this other year. Installment payment, we have it here, is equals this amount. You can also log that particular amount, F4. You log the F4, FN, F4. Once you do that, you press enter. Then you can go to the interest is equals 1%. Log it. You multiply by the amount as a start. You press enter. You get the principal amount is equals the principal payment, you minus the interest, then you can get the amount as at the end. You get the amount at start, you minus the principal amount. So you highlight the whole row, second row, and then you place your cursor on the far corner, double click. That is the loan amortization. The balance here should be 0. And you can see the balance there is 0. That is how we prepare loan amortization. That is how we prepare the loan amortization. Anyone with a question up to that point? If you have any question, you just unmute yourself and ask the question. Anyone with a question before we proceed? All right. I can take on the question number 2 for this question. The required number 2 of this particular question. The required number 2. Now required number 2 here. Number C, you are given that a customer centric circle. As a customer centric circle, the circle members are allowed to vary the loan terms to their preferences as long as it is aligned to the loan terms. You are required to help what we call Lou. You are required to help Manoti. Help Manoti Wele to fill the table below with the correct repayment period and loan amount. This is in column C and D respectively. That allows him to make monthly repayments amounting to 35,000 and not the proposed amount. Not the proposed amount. Let me just have it here so I can copy that. This is equals. The requirement is here. So let me copy that. Then we have this table. So let me copy the table here. So this is our table. So Control C. That is it. So I'll need also to copy this one, the first one that we had here. I can copy this. Is information that we had here. This information that we had here. And copy it here. I think that is it. So now we want to estimate how this one will fit for him to be paying the exact amount of how much? To be paying the exact amount of 35,000 here. 35,000. So in our case, we know at 11%, the monthly payment we know is this amount here. We have in this one. That is at monthly payment. Let me remove the percentage. So just divide by 100. And I put it as a value. Or let me just do this. Just put the 18 as a value. So just come here on home. Just where is it? So you just come here. Have it as a number, not as a percentage, a number. So that is the number. That is the number. So now we want now all right, we can proceed now. Now at 2 million, we know this is what you be paid. Now we want to check if this one changes here to 35 and our interest rate is still the same. How much is he going to pay for this one? Now, mainly what we are looking for is what we call the the present value. We'll be looking for is it the present? We are looking for 35. Now is the future value of an annuity. How we just get the future value of an annuity as we using the rates here. So this is it. We want to know, we need to understand the question. Question is telling you the correct period and loan amount in C and D. So this is for this one. This is for when when the monthly payment changes to how much? 35,000. So we want to know what will be our interest. And again, also what will be our months, the number of months that is going to pay. And the amount borrowed. Okay. All right. I've realized it's something else that we have to use. We have to use what we call the goal seek. Um, we are supposed to use what we call the goal seek. I think, okay, let's just do for the goal seek as I've seen. Now, goal seek in Excel, we use it when we want to seek for something that you want to achieve. Like for example, now mainly this is what I mean. You are calculating for input value that will produce a desired output. Generally is what we call the backward, so you are solving the something backwards, or you are doing what we call the what if analysis. We use it mainly in fields of finance and academics. So the key thing is first we need to identify what we call our output value. What generally do we want to achieve? Then we have to change the cell to the desired output. Then the desired output value to the value that we want. And then we do what we call the goal seeking. So our goal seeking here, we want to seek on making a monthly repayment of 35,000 for that particular period. So this is what I do. You will just come here to where we have in the data, click on data, and then you go to where we have the what if. Then you can click on what we call the goal seek, set the goal. We want this value, this one that I'm having here. That is my input value to what value? So the value here, I can type it, the 35,000. Then you can have the change in value. What will be changing is our what? The month, the period, which in this case, I can have the period, then you say, then it is showing me some error. Oh, I've seen. This one should be somewhere where you have no cell. So that is it. The cell value. Then here you can have the amount, what is changing, or interest rate. There is somewhere I'm making a mistake. I don't know where. Uh, Let me check. Okay, I've seen the mistake where I'm doing it. There are some things that I need to include here. Let me first include this information first. I want, depending on the one that we were doing, this was, we need to have the number of months, I will have it here. The number of months I said is this one. We were multiplying by 12. I multiply by 12. That one was giving us 60. The interest rate, we have it here. That is per annum. So I need to have the interest rate per month. So monthly rate, monthly rate, which in this case should be is equals this 11% you might divide by 12. That way, here I can increase the decimal. Yeah, that way. And then you'll also need to have another column for the monthly repayment. Now, monthly repayment. Now, monthly repayment is the installment payment, as we said. So here I'll just come. Now we want the amount that you will pay, the amount that you'll be paying depending on those periods. On the, if he pays, for example, for this 12%, where is it? 11%, we want to know the amount that you'll be able to pay in terms of months and also in terms of interest. If he pays 35,000, is what I want to look for each and every one. If instead of paying now this 45, for 3,485, if we pay 35,000, how much will he be able to pay for that particular loan is what we want to advise. So this, our monthly repayments here will be equals to the PMT. The rate we know it is here, comma, we have the period 60, and we have the present value, which is the amount borrowed. I say this should be negative, so I start with negative there. So once you do that, now you can do what we call now the goal seek. So we can now do what we call in the goal seek. I need to clear that. So now, as I've said, you just come to what we call the what if. Click here on where we have the what if analysis, that is from data. Click what if analysis. The what if analysis. And then here you'll just come here and you'll talk of the goal seek. Goal seek here is the amount that will want to be paying, which in this case is the amount of how much? 35,000. So I'll just say the 35,000 there. What will be changing in all here is the amount of the loan that we want to change. So I can click on the amount of the loan to change. This one. Click on that. And then you say okay. So if in this, sorry, let me repeat again. I go to what if, this one, goal seek. So this is a J125. The amount that will be changing is not that one, is this one. So the amount that we want it to change to what value? We want it to change to 35,000. Then what, by changing which cell? We want to change the loan amount because it's what we want to know how much you'll be paying. Then I can click OK. The gold seek. This is the amount. Oh, this is in dollars. Should be in shillings. Let me first change on this. All right, so now I can just go to data, the what if analysis, goal sheet. So this is the amount. I want that to change to 35,000. And then the change in sale is the loan. And then you can press OK. The goal sheet step. So my target value, the current value is that, so it's okay. So that is it. It will be this is what I want it to change, 35,000. And then we have this one is change in value, that one. So you say, okay, I think this one I need to move it a little bit up here. Yeah, that way. So that now I can copy my amounts here. So you just come here, say for this the loan amount will be is equals. This is the loan amount. Then the principal amount we know is paid 35. That is the monthly repayment is equals this 35. So the other thing is on period. Period here we've been given is also in 60 days. So I will also have the period in 60 days. Interest rate will just be the same. Remember, this one is not changing to be, sorry, I've done wrong. This amount is not changing. You just say is equals, um, just say there is equals this amount. I'm on the interest rate. This should have been the number of days, 60. This should be is equals the interest rate. This should be for the, yeah, if he pays 35,000, then in that case, he can now be able to do it. Now, the first thing what I've done, I've changed the amount, the loan amount. Now we want to change on the dates itself to see if, on the months, I mean, to see what in this case it will change to how much, or the amount that you'll be able to pay when all the other things are going to be what? On the same. So we can just redo the same again, but now we reduce the what? We reduce on the part of days. So now, this is it. I will also go to the goal seek. What if analysis, the goal seek here. Now the goal seek here is what I want to change here is the value, the dates here. The amount, sorry, I want the amounts. This one should return to the original value. Let me first return them to the original value before I do the change. So this one we can have it as it was originally. This was 2 million. I just need to have the 2 million. And again, also we'll have, this was 5 years. This is also 60. This is 11%. This one is, the interest rate is not changing. So I can increase on that. The interest rate. Now our installment payment will be PMT, the negative. So now this will be the rate, comma, comma. We'll also have the period, comma, then the present value, which is the amount of the loan, then enter. This should be in shillings. So I just have the number. Now, this is it. I also want to know now the months, how the months will also be able to change for each of the period, for the EV based on 35. So I will also go here, I click there. That is this is the data. So I go to what if analysis, the goal seek. What is it that I want to check is here. I want to pay, this is 35,000. But now the change in value will be now what? Our period. And then you can press enter. If you say okay, and see, you will pay it in 81.33 days. 81.33 days. So you just have the same amount here. You just have the same amount is equals 2 million. Here is equals, it will be now in 81 days is equals here. This is the interest rate is not changing. And then it will be pays 35,000. So enter is equals 35. That is how we do the goal seek. That is how we do the goal seek. You use the goal seek, which will help you to know. Here they wanted the first column for the repayment period, or I've interchanged. I've done first for the loan amount, the other one for the repayment period. Let me just repeat again. There is no problem, no harm on the same, so that we understand again. So first is on the repayment period. So initially we know the loan amount is 2 million. You are paying 5 years. Number of months is 60. It is 5. I said is 5 is equals 5. You multiply by 12. The 12. Then here the interest was 11%. Interest, this is per annum. Then per month will be is equals this 11 you divide by 12. And then we have the monthly repayment, which is the principal. The installment payment, the rate here, you put a comma, period 60. Then we have this is how much? 200. So for goal seek, this is what I've said. First, they wanted for the period that you will be able to pay 35,000, because this is correct repayment period if he pays 35,000. If this amount is 35 what? 35,000. So as I've said, first you just come here on the data. the data. Just come on the data. Go to what if goal seek. Goal seek, we want to seek for this to be 35. So 35,000. What will be the change in value? Here is now on the months. So months is what I it to change. Then you can place put two values. So this is what I want it to be changing. So you can place enter. Don't know whether I made the mistake again. So this is what I want it to be changing. 35. Then I can have it is refusing again. So is equals I mean the goal seek. This is this one. I want this to be 35,000. And what I want to be changing is what? The period. Oh, this is not value. Or let me put this into 60. Should be 60. Let me not use a formula. Yeah, so don't use the formula there. It will just be is equals this. You want to seek for 35,000 for the period. What will be changing here is that. So that's it. So you will pay for that period as I've said. So it will be is equals. This is 81. The one will be is equals. This amount is not changing. The interest rate is also not going to change. It will be is equals that amount. Now we also do the same for this other one here. I will also have the same. Can copy also this. Copy. So I just need what will now be changing here. You have to ensure that this is also applying the formula. The rate is this, comma. You have the period here should be change. Change. All right, it's okay, no problem. The PMT. The period I think should be now. Yeah, it should be having the 60 days. Yeah, so PMT will be given by rate, comma. This is a period 60 total amount. So now we can do the goal seek. Can do the goal seek. So this will be given by is equals. Is equals. I mean, not what if. Go to goal seek. The amount is here. That is what we want to seek. Changes to 35,000. What will be changing is now our amount borrowed. Then you can have that. So this will be given by is equals. Is equals. This amount. This other one is on the period, should be 60. Then for the interest is not changing, should be the same. And then that is it. So that is how you are to use a goal seek to get that one. So more to that, I will use other question on financial modeling. Is the question that we'll be able to do in our next class. I will share before then. You have a check on that particular question. So we continue from there as from our next class.